ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Imagine having 50 browser tabs open in your head at all the same time. 3 of them are completely frozen, you have no idea where the audio is playing from, and your mouse cursor is lagging. That is the actual daily reality of living with ADHD. On the internet, people love to make jokes about being so distracted by shiny things or having squirrel energy, but the lived experience is a heavy, bone-deep exhaustion. It is not that you lack the ability to focus, it is that you have absolutely no control over what your brain decides to lock onto. You can spend 6 straight hours hyper-focusing on a random rabbit hole about ancient deep-sea creatures, but the exact second you need to open your laptop to do your taxes or reply to an important email, your brain simply shuts down. It physically rejects the task. You sit there, staring at the screen, literally screaming at yourself internally to just move your fingers, but nothing happens. It feels like trying to touch a red-hot stove on purpose. Your survival instincts kick in and block you from doing the work. This is what the community calls ADHD paralysis, and it is incredibly lonely because from the outside, you just look lazy. This happens because your brain is starving for dopamine, the chemical that makes things feel rewarding. Without enough of it, your mind is constantly hunting for a spark, jumping from one thought to another just to stay awake. You lose your keys while they're literally in your hand. You forget why you walked into the kitchen the second you cross the doorway, and you abandon half-finished projects in every single room of your house. The social cost is even worse. You interrupt people because if you don't say your thought right now, it will disappear forever. You miss deadlines, you forget birthdays, and you constantly feel like you're letting everyone who cares about you down. You are not being careless, even though that's what teachers, bosses, or partners have told you your whole life. You are running a high-performance sports car engine with bicycle brakes, trying your absolute best to stay on the road, while everyone else wonders why you cannot just sit still, follow a simple schedule, and blend in.
Generalized anxiety is not just being nervous before a big presentation or a job interview. It is having a smoke detector in your head that goes off at full volume because you lit a candle. Your brain's alarm system is permanently stuck in the on position, treating everyday life as a series of life or death emergencies. You are constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop, even when things are going perfectly. In fact, when life is quiet, the anxiety grows louder because your brain is convinced you must have forgotten to worry about something incredibly important. Living with this means replaying a 3-second interaction in your head for 3 days straight.
You dissect every word, tone shift, and pause in a text message, convinced you made everyone in the room hate you. You create entire flowcharts of worst-case scenarios in your head before you even get out of bed. If I go to the store, I might run into someone. If I run into them, I might say something stupid. If I say something stupid, they will tell everyone and my life is over. It sounds ridiculous to say out loud, but to your nervous system, it feels like an absolute fact. Physically, your body stays in a constant state of battle preparation. Your shoulders are always up to your ears, your stomach is constantly in knots, and you carry a dull, endless tension in your jaw that causes headaches every afternoon. You are completely exhausted because your nervous system is running a marathon while you are just sitting on the couch trying to watch a movie. You can never truly relax because relaxation feels like letting your guard down, and letting your guard down feels dangerous. People who do not have it will tell you to just stop overthinking or take a deep breath and let it go.
But that is like telling someone with a broken leg to just walk it off. Your brain is actively lying to you building complex, terrifying horror movies out of absolutely nothing, and your body believes every single frame. You are not choosing to worry. You are desperately trying to survive a threat that your own mind is generating.
Major depressive disorder. The biggest lie people believe about depression is that it is just extreme sadness. Sadness has a shape, a cause, and a reason. Depression is the absolute absence of feeling. It is like someone came into your life and turned down the contrast, saturation, and volume until everything became a flat, silent gray. The things that used to bring you joy, the hobbies you loved, the people you cared about, they do not make you angry or sad anymore. They just make you feel completely numb. When you are deeply depressed, getting out of bed does not feel like a simple physical movement. It feels like climbing a mountain with lead weights strapped to your limbs. You can sleep for 12 hours and wake up feeling like you haven't rested in years. Food loses its taste, music sounds like static, and even the simple act of taking a shower feels like a massive chore that requires more energy than you actually have. You watch the dirty laundry pile up, you see the unread messages on your phone, and the guilt builds up like a heavy, suffocating blanket, but you still cannot move. The worst part is the quiet voice that lives in the back of your head. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It tells you that you have always felt this way, that you are a burden to everyone around you, and that things will never get better. And because your brain is physically struggling to produce the chemicals that allow you to feel hope, you believe it. You look in the mirror and you don't recognize the person staring back. You feel like a ghost haunting your own life. You withdraw from your friends and family, not because you want to be alone, but because pretending to be okay takes more energy than you have left in your tank. You don't want to drag them down into the dark room you are trapped in. It's a slow, invisible drowning where everyone else is breathing perfectly fine all around you, wondering why you can't just swim to the surface.
Complex PTSD. While standard PTSD is usually tied to a single, shocking event, complex PTSD is the result of being trapped in a toxic, dangerous, or neglectful environment for years. It is what happens when you cannot escape the storm, so your brain learns to survive by making the storm a part of who you are. Your nervous system is literally rewired to live in a perpetual war zone. You become a hyper-observant master at reading micro-expressions, heavy footsteps, door slams, and shifts in the air, constantly trying to predict when the next blow, emotional or physical, is going to fall. Living with CPTSD means dealing with emotional flashbacks. These are not like movie flashbacks where you see the past in front of your eyes like a hologram. Instead, you are suddenly flooded with the exact feelings of terror, helplessness, and shame you felt as a child, but triggered by something completely ordinary in the present. It could be a specific tone of voice from a coworker, a door closing slightly too loudly, or someone looking at you with a cold expression. Suddenly, your logical mind is offline. You are not an adult in a safe office. Your body genuinely believes you are a terrified kid trying to find a place to hide. You struggle with a deep systemic sense of worthlessness. You feel like you are fundamentally broken, that the abuse or neglect was your fault, and that you are impossible to love. You spend your life apologizing for simply taking up space in a room, constantly waiting for people to realize how bad you are and abandon you. Your relationships are incredibly difficult because closeness feels like a trap. If someone gets too close, you panic and push them away to protect yourself. If they pull back, you panic because you think they're leaving you first. It is the exhausting daily process of trying to heal from a war that everyone else thinks ended years ago, but is still being fought inside your body every single day. Borderline personality disorder, or BPD. Borderline personality disorder is often described as living with third-degree emotional burns over your entire body. You have no emotional skin to protect you, so even the slightest change in the temperature of your environment causes agonizing pain. A delayed text message from a partner or a minor shift in the tone of a friend's voice does not just make you feel slightly insecure, it triggers a primal, terrifying wave of panic that feels like you are being abandoned in the middle of a cold, empty ocean without a life vest. Because of this extreme emotional intensity, your mind splits the world into absolute black and white. There is no middle ground, no gray area. A person is either perfect, safe, and your savior, or they are cold, malicious, and actively trying to destroy you. This is not drama or manipulation. It is your nervous system reacting to a perceived threat of abandonment at a level 10 out of 10. 1 minute you are clinging to someone for dear life, telling them they are your entire world, and the next you are pushing them away, screaming that you hate them, desperately trying to hurt them before they can leave you first. Beneath this storm of intense emotions lies a chronic, hollow sense of emptiness. When you are alone, you don't really know who you are. You look in the mirror and see a blank slate. To cope, you absorb the traits, hobbies, fashion styles, and personalities of the people around you just to feel like a real person. Your emotions can shift from intense euphoria to suicidal despair in the span of a single hour, leaving you and everyone around you completely disoriented. You are locked in a constant, exhausting battle with your own mind, desperately searching for stability while your emotional thermostat is constantly shattering from the heat.
Obsessive-Compulsive Disorder. Pop culture has reduced OCD to a quirky personality trait for people who like their desks neat or their spices organized alphabetically. In reality, OCD is a brutal, terrifying prison where your own mind holds you hostage. It is not about cleanliness. It is about doubt, guilt, and terror. Your brain gets stuck on a horrifying, intrusive thought, a graphic image of violence, a fear of contamination, or a sudden, terrifying doubt about your own morality, and it refuses to let go. These are your obsessions. They feel so real and urgent that your brain convinces you that if you do not perform a specific action right now, something catastrophic will happen. Your family will die in a horrific car crash, your house will burn down, or you will lose your mind and hurt someone. To quiet the screaming in your head, you perform compulsions. You wash your hands until they are raw, cracked, and bleeding. You check the stove 15 times, taking pictures of it with your phone just to prove to yourself it is off. You repeat a specific phrase in your head over and over again until it feels right. The absolute tragedy of OCD is that you usually have perfect insight. You know your rituals are completely irrational. You know checking the lock one more time won't change anything. But the anxiety is so loud, so overwhelming that you cannot take the risk. But what if this is the one time I didn't lock it? The relief you get from performing the ritual lasts for maybe 5 seconds before the doubt creeps back in, whispering, "But what if you didn't do it right? What if you touched the handle on your way out?" And the cycle starts all over again, consuming hours of your day, leaving you physically exhausted and mentally empty, a prisoner to thoughts you never wanted in the first place. Bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is not just having quick mood swings. It's riding a massive, slow-moving emotional pendulum that swings between two completely different versions of reality, with each phase lasting for weeks or months at a time. When the pendulum swings into mania, your brain is flooded with a chemical energy that feels almost divine. You sleep 2 hours a night and wake up buzzing, your mind racing with brilliant, rapid-fire ideas. You feel invincible, incredibly confident, and completely disconnected from consequences. During mania, you might spend your entire life savings on a business idea you had at 3 a.m.,
make life-altering decisions on a whim, or believe you have unlocked some secret key to the universe. Colors seem brighter, music feels spiritual, and you feel like the main character of reality. But mania burns too hot. Eventually, the racing thoughts become chaotic and terrifying. The confidence turns into intense irritability and paranoia, and the reality around you begins to blur. And then, without warning, the pendulum swings back and you crash. The drop into depression is sudden, silent, and brutal. All that electric energy drains out, leaving you trapped under an emotional rock slide. You can barely move, your thoughts move like molasses, and you're forced to look at the wreckage your manic self left behind. You have to face the ruined relationships, the empty bank account, the broken promises, and the confusion of your loved ones. You live in constant fear of your own brain, never knowing when the next shift will come to hijack your life.
Autism spectrum disorder. Living with autism in a world designed for neurotypical people is like being forced to act in a complex, high-stakes play where everyone else was given the scripted birth, but you were handed a blank sheet of paper. You have to manually study human behavior, eye contact, body language, and social cues. You analyze every interaction like a complex math equation just to blend in. This constant, exhausting act of performance is called masking, and it is one of the most draining things a human brain can do. By the time you get home, you are too exhausted to even speak. Your sensory system is dialed up to a level that others cannot comprehend. A fluorescent light does not just illuminate a room, it hums, flickers, and feels like a physical attack on your eyes. The tag on your shirt feels like sandpaper scraping against your raw skin, and a crowded room is not just noisy, it is a chaotic wall of sound where you cannot separate a conversation from the clinking of glasses or the humming of the refrigerator. When this sensory input becomes too much, your brain goes into overload, leading to meltdowns or shutdowns where you simply lose the ability to function. Because you communicate literally and directly, people often misinterpret you as cold, rude, robotic, or lacking empathy. But the truth is often the exact opposite. Many autistic people feel empathy so intensely that it physically hurts, but they do not express it in the socially expected way. You find your comfort in your intense, highly focused special interests and repetitive movements like rocking or tapping, which act as safety anchors in a world that is constantly too loud, too bright, and too unpredictable. You are not broken, you are just operating on a completely different operating system. Schizophrenia. Hollywood loves to portray schizophrenia as a violent, dramatic thriller filled with dangerous villains. The reality is an incredibly isolating, terrifying medical condition where the filter between your mind and the external world simply breaks. Your brain begins to process internal thoughts, anxieties, and random neural misfires as if they are external, physical realities. The hallucinations are not always giant, terrifying monsters. Often they are voices. Subtle, persistent whispers that comment on your every move, criticize your character, or warn you that the people you love are plotting against you. Your brain processes these sounds through the exact same neural pathways it uses to hear a real person talking, making it impossible to just ignore them. Alongside this come delusions, fixed beliefs that feel more real than gravity itself. You might feel a deep, unshakable certainty that your thoughts are being broadcasted, or that there are hidden codes in the streetlights designed specifically for you.
But the most disabling parts of schizophrenia are often the negative symptoms that nobody talks about in media. Your emotions flatten out entirely, your speech becomes fragmented, and your motivation disappears so completely that even brushing your teeth feels like trying to build a house from scratch. You withdraw from society, not out of anger, but out of absolute confusion and fear. You are trapped in a shifting reality, forced to constantly question your own eyes and ears, trying to hold on to sanity while your own nervous system behaves like an unreliable narrator. It is a quiet, daily fight to trust what is real when your own brain is telling you otherwise.
Dissociative identity disorder. Dissociative identity disorder is perhaps the most misunderstood condition in existence. It is not a collection of dramatic theatrical characters living inside one body for entertainment. It is a brilliant, desperate survival mechanism created by a child's brain when faced with trauma so severe, repeated, and inescapable that physical escape was impossible. Before the age of 7, a child's personality is still consolidating. If that child is subjected to constant abuse, the brain compartmentalizes the pain, building mental walls of amnesia to isolate the memories and emotions so the child can keep surviving. These compartments eventually develop into distinct identity states, or alters. Each part of the system holds a different piece of the puzzle. Some hold the terrifying memories, some protect the body with anger, some stay perpetually childlike, and others manage the mundane tasks of daily life, like going to school or work. Living with DID means dealing with massive, terrifying gaps in your memory. You do not just forget where you put your keys. You lose entire days, waking up in a different part of town, wearing clothes you do not recognize, with people calling you by a name you have never heard. It is a life of constant internal negotiation and chaos. You are sharing a single life, a single body, and a single bank account with other parts of your psyche that might have completely different ages, genders, preferences, and coping mechanisms. It is not a superpower or a movie plot. It is the painful, ongoing process of trying to heal a mind that had to shatter itself into pieces just to keep you alive.